Thank you very much for joining us for another exciting edition of the Lunchtime Cafe. My name is Marco Kwakoze. Sincere apologies for starting the program a little bit late. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. However, the program continues as usual. We are going to be looking at some stories that are currently happening right now. Our reporters will be sending us some of the stories that they are working on. These are stories that we expect to see in our bulletin at 19:30 this evening. Also, we are going to be taking you back into memory then, just to remind you of some stories that happened a few years back. And later on, Patrick Soko will be joining me to just give an analysis of what the stories of today are talking about. And also, we are going to be opening the phone lines to allow you to call us and give us your views and thoughts on the stories that we are looking at this beautiful afternoon. This is the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV, broadcasting to you on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on Go TV, channel 106 on Topstar, and we are also live on our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV, and also not forgetting our YouTube channel, which is also Camnet TV. Those are platforms you can catch us live on this particular program. Now, before we get into the emerging stories, let's take a short break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. Let's get straight into the stories that are happening just now. ByZ founder Evans Ngoma says his organization is overwhelmed with the response of local consumers as regards local products. Speaking to Camnet TV News in an exclusive interview, Mr. Ngoma says consumers are now appreciating local goods and services. He says this has proved to be a wake-up call to the local producers who he urged to up their game. He says local manufacturers must ensure that they leverage on the good policies under the UPND government to develop their businesses. He says local manufacturers must ensure that they acquaint themselves with the policies that promote local manufacturing. Let's have a look at this.
We are overwhelmed with the behavior of the local consumers and now beginning to believe in that which is produced in Zambia. This gives pressure on the various manufacturers of goods and services to scale up on production and ensure that they supply the shelf space 24/7. This has excited even the new Dawn administration. President Hakainde Hichilema has always been there to support the manufacturers, to support the value chains of various goods and services, because he attaches great importance to economic growth. Manufacturers have received incentives on raw materials that are coming from outside the country for further processing here in Zambia. So if you are a manufacturer and you are still paying taxes on raw materials that you import from across the borders, please kindly visit the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry and get the relevant information in order for you also to benefit from the non-payment of taxes in order for you to be competitive in the manufacturing industry.
Thank you very much. So that is one of the stories that we expect to see in tonight's evening news. We hope to have that particular story in detail. Now, moving on, Petaoke Central Member of Parliament Emmanuel J. Banda has joined several other stakeholders in raising their voices as regards UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda's monitoring of a CDF project. Now, Mr. Banda says this might bring confusions as to the operations of the party and the government. Let's see this.
The president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is the president for two organizations. He's the president for the political party, and is the president for the government, which is the executive. And in the government, he's got the high organ, which is the cabinet. And in the political party, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has got the high organ, which is NMC. That's how they call it, NMC. Then this NMC, it's also it's like, it acts like a cabinet in the political party. Their job is to mobilize the political party on the ground. And the executive, the cabinet, their job is to organize things in the executive. So now, if you see this organ overlapping, going to do the function of this organ, which means, to me, I call it, it's a vote of no confidence to the cabinet. So it's like this now, the NMC, they have seen that the cabinet is not working. That's why now the high organ on the political party, they're jumping the bridge to come and start doing the job of the executive. So I'm sure the SG should analyze this, what I've said today, because I'm sure the executive, they're not happy. It's only that those ministers, they're scared to say, him this side also, is also maybe, he's the one who can adopt them. That's why they don't want to come out. But I can assure you to say, they're not happy. Because that one, which means this, the SG, is telling the president, indirect, to say the ministers are not working.
So that is Emmanuel J. Banda talking about the issue of monitoring CDF projects by the UPND Secretary General, and giving his thoughts on that particular matter as well. So he was speaking to us this morning during the breakfast program. We also do hope to get something from that particular issue in today's menus at 19:30. So don't forget to join us on that particular time, for the menus, as we bring to you the details of the stories that we have just showed you as the emerging stories. Now, before we go further, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be giving you some updates as regards sports. As you might be aware, the Women's World Cup has kicked off in New Zealand and Australia, and we have seen that New Zealand have started on a winning note by winning their first game. So we'll be giving you some sports highlights right after this short break.
Hey, join me, Amazing Katamanda, on the weekly gospel show for those exciting and interesting interviews with your favorite gospel
Hold on to me when it's too dark to see. You cannot put your power back to Hallelujah.
And this time around, we are bringing to you entertainment news and the counter, as you guys are able to nominate your top 3 favorite music videos of the week. Remember, it's every Saturday at 10:45. You can also catch repeats every Monday at 10 hours. Camnet TV is not just another time.
Akora kansheko alakula chancha mukero kula chekerera ucho mwana nani nanga nababutuka uwinge wangu nanga tikasambe nani ingata mwishibe tekeni twipushe bana fia sasa ushe umwana nani na ingana babutuka uwinge wangu nanga tikasambe nani mwe ipikia ini kushenya abo mwikere nabo.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
It's time! Camnet TV brings to you an exciting kid show called My Creation. Join me, Sarah Chandamagazagia, to interact with kids with special skills and talents between the age range of 9 to 17. This show will come to you every Saturday at 13:30 on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. So we are now getting to the next segment, which is the Forgotten Stories segment. Now, this is a segment that we just try to remind you of what was happening in a few years back, just to refresh our memories at what was making news in those days. Now, in 2020, we had a story where government had empowered youths to be making face masks during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this is a period where a lot of businesses had come to a standstill, and there was the economy was almost also coming to a standstill because of the COVID-19 and the restrictions that had come, and government had given the youths and empowered the youths to be making face masks. Let's have a look at this.
About 65 youths have decided to be innovative by producing face masks to help combat the deadly coronavirus. These youths say coronavirus is real and have advised Zambians to follow the preventive measures such as the wearing of face masks, washing of hands, and maintaining of a social distance.
Honestly speaking, I think for those that are still thinking COVID-19 is a hoax, I think it's very unfortunate and very, very risky. COVID-19 is real and it is so dangerous, it does not even give a single second to play with it. The moment you risk yourself and make yourself available to be caught up with COVID-19, the chances of surviving are very slim. Powered and driven by youths, we have a total of 65 employees, and out of these 65, 61 are youths who are working the day and night shifts to produce a minimum of 7,000 face masks per day, as you can see from the back, which is the final product that we do. The motivation for us is the call by His Excellency the President in encouraging all responsible citizens to be part of the solution. And by way of adhering to that, we thought it was necessary for us to take a part in the fight against the COVID-19 by way of producing this much needed essential good, which is the face mask. And this production has seen a number of youths who came to this project without even knowing anything to do with a sewing machine. And today, as we speak, they can testify on their own. Apart from just the employment that they've been given, they are also thinking as entrepreneurs beyond first-right investments, because they now believe in themselves and they know that using their hands, they can complain less and be part of the solution.
They have advised other youths to be innovative during this COVID-19 era. They have said despite delayments in paying of face mask makers by the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, they shall soldier on. These youths are aiming at making over 7,000 face masks per day. Constance Mwemba reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Now, moving on, in 2021, the same issue of COVID had continued and government had decided to close bars and nightclubs in order to stop the spread of the COVID-19. Now, people had started complaining about the closure of bars and nightclubs, saying these were business that other people were living on. And then during that period, the then PF Youth, Provincial Youth Chairman, Kennedy Kamba, had issued a statement and said, because people were saying government will lose popularity as regards this matter, so Mr. Kamba issued a statement and said, look, we are trying this to try and protect people. So if you are saying the PF will lose popularity because of closing bars and nightclubs, let that be. Let's have a look at this.
Amazambians abe nabakwete amano bakati votera because nabeshi bokwe bati tuleta protect meo shabo benanga balefu atusura amaba because they are threatening, they want to blackmail us, they want to twist us so that we put the lives of the Zambian people at risk. We are not going to do that as the party in government. Our duty is to safeguard your lives. So ama vote yabo na abe, of course na mwanale sabali mukene. Not all of them are going to believe in our party. Nalabe, we've got over 70% in Lusaka. That is enough for President Lungu to be declared a winner in Lusaka province.
Now, in the same 2021, as we headed towards the election, we had seen quite a number of political wrangles ahead of that particular general election. There were political parties that had serious wrangles, and we did pick out some story from that particular time, and let's have a look at this.
Only 23 days remain before Zambia heads to the polls for general elections on 12th August 2021, and political tension is building up among political parties in the country. The two largest political parties in Zambia, the ruling Patriotic Front PF and the opposition United Party for National Development UPND, have taken to accusing each other of various attacks. Deputy National Youth Chairperson in charge of politics and mobilization in the UPND, Mr. Trevor Mwinde, has alleged that some suspected PF supporters on the night of 19th July 2021 attacked the party's youth command center in Lusaka Stone Park area with tear gas and other weapons.
Goes to the Zambia Police Inspector General and all other security agencies of this country to give us a conclusive report in the manner of operation under which the PF cadres are found with this kind of canisters, which we only believe are always and usually found in the hands of the Zambia police.
These allegations, however, have been denied by the PF party, as its media director Antonio Mwanza says the party does not believe in violence.
We believe it is themselves who are trying to tarnish the image of the Patriotic Front by claiming that we have attacked them. There is no reason whatsoever why we as PF can go to UPND Secretariat to go and attack them. There is nothing at UPND Secretariat. There are no people there, and there's nothing. What is there? There's nothing.
These reports come only days after various political parties, the PF and UPND included, committed to peace on 14th July 2021 by signing a peace accord ahead of the August pause. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you very much. Now, moving on, in the same year, 2021, there was an issue of water levels at the Kariba Dam, and the issue of load shedding was on a high note. And ZESCO had, on this day, given an update as regards load shedding. Let's have a look at that.
Zambia boasts of many water bodies, being rich in various rivers and lakes. Predominant on some of these water bodies is the activity of electricity generation, as Zambia's main source of power is hydroelectricity. The country has a goal of becoming a regional hub for power in the Southern African Development Community SADC region by 2025. When questioned on the progress made towards achieving this goal, ZESCO Public Relations Manager Hezo Zulu says the power utility company is confident that this will be achieved due to various infrastructure developments in the energy sector. Ms. Zulu has reviewed that construction of the Kafiwe Gorge Lower Power Station, which began in 2016, has reached 100% completion and will be commissioned on 23rd July 2021. She says this will give an additional 750 megawatts to the current installed capacity of 2,800 megawatts.
And we are talking about an addition of 750 megawatts. Now, when you look at our installed capacity, currently we are at about 2,800 megawatts in terms of installed capacity. So you can see that an addition of 750 megawatts will take us in excess of 3,500 megawatts. And when you look at our peak demand is around 2,300 megawatts. So you can see that we are actually able to supply electricity for local use, that is internally as a country, and it is our hope that we can actually trade in excess electricity.
Ms. Zulu also says reports from members of the public that load shedding has again started are not true, attributing such power outages to electricity faults.
We are no longer load shedding. I think we made that announcement and we still stand by it. We made that announcement in January this year. And the main reason is that we are saying that Zambia is predominantly hydropower generated, meaning that we use water to generate power. But when you look at the past season, we had very good rainfall, and therefore our national reservoirs have enough water, adequate water.
Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So that was about the power deficit that we did have during that particular time. Now, moving on, during this particular period, the government had announced a debt swap for civil servants, and this had a lot of stakeholders talking about it. Now, we did have also Yusuf Dodia, who also gave his opinion as regards this particular matter. Let's have a look at this.
The idea of a debt swap announced by the government has continued to attract criticism from various stakeholders. According to the government, the mechanism intends to aid the civil servants in settling their debt from both government and private microfinance institutions, as indebted civil servants will in the next 3 months not attract salary reduction. The question that one may ask is, how will the debt swap affect the private lending institutions? A Lusaka-based economist, Yusuf Dodia, in an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, explained some of the dangers of such a move.
Government is saying we are going to charge 25%. Then it is within the realm of competition with the private sector, meaning if the private sector was charging 30%, 40% interest, they would probably reduce to 25% to be competitive with government, so that they continue to provide this service maybe more efficiently than government, but on the same terms and conditions. So the private sector workers and public workers would benefit from it. But if there's zero interest rate, then clearly this is a kind of subsidized facility because the banks and private lending institutions cannot give you money with zero interest. So technically the government will be taking away this particular area of business from the private sector.
Meanwhile, Mr. Dodger questioned the sustainability of the debt swap on the Zambian economy going forward.
We'd have to see how sustainable it is, which really brings us to the question of what is the impact going to be on the economy, because depending on the size of this debt swap, it will definitely demand that certain budgetary allocations are made, which are supplementary allocations, or government would have to forego some other programs in the 2021 national budget in order to finance this facility, because it was definitely not part of the 2021 budget that was formulated last year. So one then looks at it from a perspective of viability, sustainability, and of course the long-term impact.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So those are the stories that we picked for you from the Forgotten Stories basket. So that's the segment, as we said earlier, that takes us back into memory, just bring stories that were happening some few years back, just to remind us of where we are coming from as regards news and current affairs. So we have just received another emerging story, and this one talks about the ongoing Railway Workers Union of Zambia quadrennial conference, and from that particular conference we have a story which says government says the decapitalization of the railway sector remains a top priority on its agenda. Now speaking when he officiated at the Railway Workers Union quadrennial conference, Central Province Permanent Secretary Miuna Monakampwe says government is aware of the challenges in the sector and is currently working on modalities to improve the sector. He says this is the reason that President Hakainde Hichilema recently met with Angolan counterpart to look at the possibilities of the Lobito corridor. Let's have a look at this.
That for us, I think as government we would be very interested to see peace and harmony in the labor sector. It is very important that, first of all, as union leaders ourselves, before we demand for many things, we take responsibility and provide leadership. And this is what you have exhibited, President, and your team, to honor your constitution by coming together and have an elective quadrennial congress, which ordinarily is supposed to be held every 4 years. Congratulations to yourselves. But also to re-echo, President, I'm aware that you are aware His Excellency the President of this great republic, President Hakainde Hichilema, has placed a very high premium on the railway sector. And that is why you are seeing him moving into Angola, Lobito corridor, to discuss with his brothers, President Tshisekedi and President of Angola, on how best the rail line is going to move from Zambia into Congo, into if you like, into Angola, because we want to make sure that goods and services, cargo is moved at a hypersonic speed. Gone are days when, if you like, because government officials own trucks, and they want all the cargo to move to the road and destroy the roads. This time the president that we have is a president who tells you right in your face and has called upon all of us to do the right thing. So you must be on standby, all of us, to make sure that when we are given the responsibility to move heavy cargo from a certain tonnage to rail, we must be able to haul this cargo in time. So it goes, therefore, without saying that I wish also to state that recapitalization is one of the top priorities on the desk of His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema and his new donor administration.
Thank you very much. So that's just another story that has come in, just to give you an idea of what you expect in the 1930 evening news on Camnet TV, on channel 274 on on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and on Top Star we are on channel 103. So that is what you expect in that particular bulletin. Now, moving on, let's get some updates as regards what is happening in the world of sports. The Women's FIFA World Cup has kicked off in New Zealand and Australia, with the first games being played today. Australia and the Republic of Ireland are currently playing, and the match is in the 89th minute. Australia is leading by a goal to nil, and Republic of Ireland down in chasing that particular game. Earlier, we did see Norway go down as well by a goal to nil to New Zealand, another host country. So the two host nations seemingly, we are now in the 90th minute, as you can see in the game between Australia and the Republic of Ireland. So those are the results. We do expect tomorrow Nigeria to take on Canada, Philippines to take on Switzerland, and Spain will be taking on Costa Rica. So Nigeria and Canada will be played at 04:30 a.m. So Philippines, that's local time here in Zambia, and Philippines versus Switzerland will be played at 7 hours local time here in Zambia, and Spain and Costa Rica will be playing at 09:30 hours in the morning. So that's about the females, the Women's World Cup that is currently ongoing in New Zealand. So the New Zealand and Australia. So New Zealand having won their opening game, and Australia leading with only a few minutes to go in that particular game. We are now in the 90th minute of that particular game. Now, still with the World Cup, yesterday, authorities in New Zealand had reported some shooting incident in Auckland, one of the towns that is hosting the World Cup, but FIFA was quick to mention and announce that a shooting where we saw 3 people die and 6 injured had no effect on the FIFA World Cup. No FIFA team was affected. No team that is participating in the World Cup was affected by that particular shooting, and that all the teams are safe and everything is going on as planned for this particular World Cup. Now, another interesting story that is coming from the FIFA World Cup. FIFA President Giovanni Infantino said yesterday that the Women's World Cup, that although FIFA is considering earmarking prize money payments to the individual players, FIFA will still distribute money to federations rather than oversee the direct payments to players. Now, the World Governing Body of Football announced in June that every player competing in the tournament would be paid 30,000 United States dollars. That's 600,000 kwacha to be paid by FIFA to all the players that are participating in the World Cup. That is just for the opening stage, for the group stages. And if teams qualify to the next stage, the prize money, the monies will also be increased. So that is about the FIFA World Cup. Just to mention that Zambia will be playing her first game on Saturday at 09 hours in the morning. So you have to mark your calendars for that Copper Queens game. Moving on to local sports now, very interesting sports, especially as regards transfers, have come through as regards the local league. Now, Congolese striker who formerly played for Ntanga Rangers, who played for Ntanga Rangers last season, was on loan from FC Lupopo in Congo. Played for Ntanga Rangers last season, has signed with Red Arrows. Ebengo Seo will be a Red Arrows player getting into this particular season. Now, another interesting story is that of another Ntanga Rangers striker, Angolan Miguel Pedro Bengi, has completed his move to Trident FC. This is where he came from, actually. So he has returned back to Trident FC, and he will be playing for Trident as we get into the next season. Denashano Malama also going back to Nkana Red Devils. That's another transfer story that is quite interesting. And he even joined the team, which is on pre-season camp in Mongu. And also Green Eagles have secured the services of goalkeeper Rodwell Mulungushi from Chambishi. So Rodwell will now be a Green Eagles player. Now you remember that Green Eagles did release quite a number of players this window, and we are hoping to see more signings. They have signed a goalkeeper there by the name of Mulungushi Rodwell. And moving on, Atletico Lusaka duo of defender Gifting Pande and striker Kingston Mutandwa are in Italy attending trials with Cagliari FC. We do hope they make it through in that particular trial. Kingston and of course Gifting Pande, who are in Italy attending to trials at Cagliari. In another news, Mozambican side SD Costo Dosso have signed Zambian attacker Obino Chisara, and Obino will be playing in Mozambique next season. The former Zanaco striker will now be leaving Zanaco as a free agent and going to Mozambique to play for Costa Dosso. That is the team that he will be playing for. Moving on, Kondwani Chiboni is heading back to Power Dynamos after spending some times to arch rivals Nkana Red Devils. So he's headed back to the champions Power Dynamos, and we will be confirming that to you very soon as the player signs. Moving on, also still interesting news coming through. Former, or is it under 20 captain Dominic Kanda has signed for Zanaco FC. He will be a Zanaco player next season. Now, another interesting move is that of Green Buffaloes women's team coach Charles Halubono, who has moved to Tanzania. He will now be a younger Queens coach. So Mr. Halubono there moving to Tanzania. Now, this one is not really a new story, and it's not a transfer story, but following government's intervention, a surgeon to conduct a surgery on Nali in New Zealand and Austria has been identified. Now, government through the Ministry of Sport had announced that they will take care of Nali's World Cup stay and would also foot her medical bills, and were ready to fly the Copper Queens first choice goalkeeper to India. So that is about Hazan Ali, who is going to stay with the team in New Zealand. And government will take up the responsibility of her allowances and of course her treatment, and is ready to fly her to India for, if need be, for that particular surgery. Now, yesterday, the Football Association of Zambia did release the fixtures for the games, for the first round games of the fixtures for next season. Now, the first round games are as follows. On the first day of the 2023-2024 Super League fixture, Green Eagles will be taking on Mutondo Stars, Nkwazi will be playing Konkola Blades, Nkana will be playing Red Arrows, Prisons Leopards will be playing Power Dynamos, Muza FC will be playing Zanaco, Napsa Stars will be playing Zesco United, Forest Rangers will be playing Kabwe Warriors, and Mufrira Wanderers will be playing Green Buffaloes, and the last one, Trident, will be playing Kansanshi Dynamos. So those are the fixed week 1 fixtures for the 2023-2024 season for the Super League of the FAZ League. So a lot of teams, of course, are in camp, pre-season camps in different locations of the country. Red Arrows is in Siavonga, Green Buffaloes are in Kawambwa, Nkana in Mongo, and Zanaco also in Mongo, and preparing for the forthcoming season. So that's an update that we thought we should give you as regards sports. Don't forget to join us tomorrow as we come with another exciting program on the Lunchtime Cafe. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Marco Kwakoze. Have a blessed afternoon.